think actually, I don't know when was Vienna filmed, Venice Film Festival. I think it was at the same time.
How to say this topic? How would you describe your film for the audience which is gonna see it for the first time tonight?
You mean how would I describe it? Not by telling the story. I think it's a coming-of-age film. It's the story of a young girl who's in a theater school and who's very shy. She's invisible. People say that she's not terribly talented, and suddenly she gets cast for a lead role in a big theater play, and we see her going too far, and we see her struggling with herself, with the director she's working with, and how the work on this role makes her whole life and her whole world kind of collapse.
Du hast die Nerven! Jawohl, ich habe dieses schreckliche Buch in die Bücherei zurückgebracht. Dieses scheußliche Buch von diesem verrückten Messerlaun. Ich kann nichts gegen die Produkte irgendwelcher geisteskranken Unternehmen oder gegen die Leute, die sich davon verrückt machen lassen. Aber ich dulde keine solchen Schnapsenmörder!
Wer macht dich denn hier zum Sklaven?
Untersteh dich so mit mir!
Nein, ich darf überhaupt nichts sagen!
Ich werde jetzt mal was sagen! Ich will nichts mehr hören!
I've always been fascinated in theater. When you are on a film set, of course there's some magic, but being in a theater in those old big buildings and then feeling the atmosphere after a performance, when you go to the cantina, seeing actors being completely tired and they've given everything, I found that always fascinating. And a couple of years ago I heard the story of a young actress who tried to commit suicide after she had a performance on stage because she was so much in her role and she couldn't find a way out of this role, and that was kind of the impact to invent a story like we did.
How did you work with the main actress, Stine Fischer Christensen? She's from Denmark.
I was in the middle of the casting process for the film. I saw many young actresses, and I couldn't really find my Fine. And I saw her film after the wedding just by coincidence, and I thought like, wow, who's that girl? And we asked her to come to Berlin. Stine doesn't really speak German, but she did the casting in German, and of course we took a risk to put her in this film where she had to be in every scene and where she had to learn a lot of German. She worked with a coach. She moved to Berlin 3 or 4 months before we started shooting, and we would meet very often. We would tell each other a lot of our private lives, and so I think this collaboration was a work of trust.
Have you been anyhow inspired by Black Swan from Darren Aronofsky?
Black Swan was actually released after we started shooting our film, so I didn't know about Black Swan. Of course, when I heard, it was, I think, we shot this film last summer, and Aronofsky's premiere was in Venice kind of the same time. And when we heard about this film, I was like, wow, that sounds in a way similar to what we are doing here. And I have to say, I didn't go to the movie theater to watch that film. I think I saw it only 2 months ago on an airplane, and I think, of course, both films deal with similar topics, and but in the end I think both films are something completely different, so I'm not inspired by this film. But it's funny that I do really like Aronofsky. The Wrestler is one of my favorite movies.